Your car was in a minor accident. Nobody was hurt, the airbags didn't fire, it wasn't dramatic. Just some bumper damage, maybe a headlamp, some plastic panels. You get it repaired, it comes back looking perfect. The paint matches, no warning lights, car drives fine. Here's what nobody told you. That collision almost certainly touched your car's radar system, its forward-facing camera, its collision warning sensors, and there's a very specific way manufacturers require shops to verify those systems still work after a repair. Much of the time, that step doesn't happen, and in a moment, I'm going to tell you exactly what Mazda, Toyota Lexus, GM, Honda, and Ford all say about this, and then I'm going to explain why your insurance company is the reason it keeps getting skipped. Because this is not a minor technical footnote. This is about whether the safety technology your car was built around, the systems designed to help you avoid a crash, warn you of danger, and potentially save your life, was actually verified to work after your repair. That's what we're getting into today. Hey everybody, happy Saturday. My name is Eric and I'm here with Nyland's Collision Center in Englewood, Colorado. This is the airing of grievances where every week we take industry news and break it down into what it actually means for you, the vehicle owner. So let's start with what actually triggered this episode. Mazda recently updated its position statement and said, in plain language, that because of the complexity of modern electronic systems and components, any vehicle involved in a collision should undergo both a pre-repair and a post-repair diagnostic scan with a genuine Mazda scan tool, whether a malfunction light is illuminated or not. Pre-scans identify hidden trouble codes and system malfunctions before repairs begin, so the repair plan is actually built correctly. Post-scans confirm all the systems are operating correctly, they're properly calibrated, and they're free of trouble codes after the repairs are complete. Now, most consumers still think about collision repair the old way. Bent metal, broken plastic, paintwork, maybe a headlamp. But that's not what modern vehicles are. They are networks. Sensors, radars, cameras, modules, wiring, communication pathways, and software logic all interacting with each other. Mazda specifically calls out sensors, cameras, and radars as part of the vehicle's safety design. So when a collision happens, the question is no longer just what got bent. The real question is, what got disrupted? And I'll tell you in a minute why that question has an answer that most consumers never actually see. Think about a front radar unit sitting behind a bumper. It may survive the impact physically. It may not have been shattered. It may still power on. It may not even trigger a dash light. And yet, if that component or its mounting position changes even slightly, the system may not perform with the same precision that it had before. That's the part that consumers never get shown. Most people are not handed a scan report and walked through it. They're handed the keys. They're told that their car is ready. And if it looks good and it drives normally, they assume the job is done. But drives normally is not the same thing as all safety systems have been verified. Those are two very different standards, and the manufacturer's standard is the one that matters here, not the insurance company's comfort level, not the desk reviewer's opinion, not whether somebody thinks the damage didn't look that bad. Mazda is saying, scan it before the repairs, scan it after the repairs, and document that the vehicle was properly restored. And here's where it gets interesting, because Mazda is not the only one saying this. Toyota Lexus says that repairers should perform a health check diagnostic scan because a capable scan tool is the only way to identify and document diagnostic trouble codes, and they say it's necessary to perform that scan before and after every repair when a vehicle has sustained a collision damage. General Motors says that all vehicles being assessed for collision damage repairs must be tested for diagnostic trouble codes during estimation and then retested after repairs are complete to verify that faults were repaired and that no new faults were introduced. And GM even says that minor body damage or glass replacement may affect safety-related systems. American Honda says that all vehicles involved in a collision must have a preliminary diagnostic scan during the repair estimation phase and a post-repair diagnostic scan to confirm that no trouble codes remain. And while we're talking about it, Ford says that all Ford vehicles from model year 2010 forward that are involved in a collision require a pre-repair diagnostic scan during the estimation phase and a post-repair diagnostic scan after repairs. Ford also notes specifically that not every malfunction will illuminate a warning light. Different brands, same direction. Scan it before, scan it after, verify the systems. So if every major manufacturer is saying the same thing, scan required, no exceptions for absence of a warning light, why does this keep getting skipped? Why does a required procedure keep turning into a fight? I'll get to that, but first, I want to address something from last week's comments because I think it reflects what a lot of people are thinking right now. The comment basically said, this technology trend is over-engineered, overpriced, and the reason vehicle ownership has gotten so expensive. Now, I understand that frustration. I genuinely do. Cars cost more. Parts cost more. Repairs cost more. A small collision can turn into a very expensive repair very quickly. That frustration is real and it's valid. But here's where I want to put a sharper point on it. This is not a conspiracy by automakers to jack up the vehicle prices just for the sake of it. This technology exists because occupant safety matters. Crash avoidance matters. Injury reduction matters. Fatality reduction matters. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety research found that forward collision warning alone reduced rear-end striking crash rates by 27%. Low-speed automatic emergency braking reduced them by 43%. Forward collision warning combined with AEB reduced them by 50%. Injury crash rates were also reduced substantially. The NHTSA, that is the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, finalized a rule requiring automatic emergency braking on nearly all new passenger vehicles by 2029 and projected the standard to save at least 360 lives a year and prevent at least 24,000 injuries annually. So the honest takeaway is not all this tech is useless. The honest takeaway is this technology can genuinely help protect people. But if a vehicle is built around that technology, repairing the visible damage while ignoring the verification of that technology is not a complete repair. That's the honest middle ground. Now let's talk about why that verification keeps getting skipped and who's actually responsible for it. Insurance companies are often the ones creating the pressure that turns required procedures into a fight. They deny payment for scans. They reduce payment for scans. Sometimes they delay payment for scans, and sometimes they act like a scan is only justified if the warning light is on, even when the manufacturer says the opposite. Sometimes they treat a post-repair verification step like a negotiable add-on instead of part of the actual repair. And from our side of the industry, that is one of the most maddening parts of this entire process, because the shop is sitting there with OEM documentation saying this is required. The customer assumes their insurance company will pay for what the manufacturer requires, and the insurance company too often behaves as though it gets to redefine what required means. It doesn't. The automaker defines the repair procedure for its own vehicle. The insurance company does not engineer the car. It does not test the safety systems. It does not write the service information. It does not establish what it takes to restore pre-accident condition. It pays the claim. And those are not the same thing. When insurers blur that line, consumers are the ones put in the middle. Let me give you a concrete picture of what that actually looks like. Let's say you have a Toyota or a Mazda with forward-facing safety tech behind the bumper. The impact is not severe, the bumper cover is replaced, the vehicle looks excellent when it leaves. But nobody performs the required pre-scan or post-scan, or the insurer refused to pay enough for that procedure to be done correctly. A month later, you're in fast-moving traffic. The vehicle in front of you brakes hard. You assume that your car's warning and intervention systems are there as a backup. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're carrying a code that never showed up as a dash light. Ford specifically notes that not every malfunction will illuminate a warning light. Mazda says scans are required regardless of whether a malfunction indicator is on. Here's a second example. GM says even minor body damage or glass replacement may affect one or more safety-related items. That means this issue is not limited to major wrecks. It can show up in repairs most consumers would describe as nothing major at all. That's why the phrase, "it looked like a minor hit," is not a technical conclusion. It's a visual impression. And here's what ties all of this together. The average person has never been taught how to evaluate a collision repair. They judge by appearance. Does the paint match? Do the gaps look right? Does it pull? Are there warning lights? All that's understandable. Most people are not technicians. But the problem is that a modern car can pass all of those casual tests and still not have been fully verified. A missing scan isn't dramatic. A denied scan line on an estimate does not look scary. A reduced reimbursement from an insurer doesn't sound that alarming. But those quiet decisions shape whether a vehicle has actually been returned to proper working condition. The stakes are hidden. And that brings me to exactly what you should do about it. Here at Nylands, our position is straightforward. We do not believe that insurance companies should get to water down repair procedures that the manufacturer requires. If Mazda says scan it before and after, that's the standard. If Toyota Lexus says it's necessary before and after every collision repair, that is the standard. If GM says even minor damage or glass replacement can affect safety systems, that has to be taken seriously. If Honda and Ford say that these scans are part of proper repairs, that's the standard. That doesn't mean that consumers are wrong to be frustrated by rising costs. It means that the frustration should be aimed in the right direction. Don't blame the existence of safety technology for being safety technology. Blame the broken claims culture that wants the benefits of modern safety while resisting the cost of properly restoring it after a crash. Here are the questions to ask after any collision repair. Was a pre-repair scan performed? Was a post-repair scan performed? Was calibration required for any of the affected systems? Can I see the documentation? Those aren't rude questions, those are smart questions. And I'll ask you one more for the comments. After a repair, has any shop or insurer ever actually shown you your pre-scan and post-scan results? Because I think a lot of people would be surprised by how often that part of the conversation never happens. Mazda's message is clear. Scan before repairs. Scan after repairs. Verify the vehicle has been safely and accurately restored. Toyota, Lexus, GM, Honda, and Ford, they're all saying the same thing. Modern vehicle safety technology is not a scheme to gouge people. It exists because it genuinely reduces crashes and saves lives. But once that technology is part of the vehicle, a proper repair has to include verifying that it still works. Insurance companies may not like paying for that. That doesn't make it optional. I'm Eric with Nylands Collision Center, and I want to say thanks for being here. Happy Saturday to you, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. If you made it all the way to the end of this one, check out this video right here. It may save you money, or maybe even your life.